What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on some of the latest updates and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down 0.62%, 344 the low, 357 the high, and very little volume. So 18.9 million shares being traded, 31 is the average. So today overall is a pretty boring day, as you can kind of see just from the intraday. And majority of that 18 million being done is linked to algorithmic trading. So the market essentially is holding its breath for the next big thing, whether we see a re-escalation coming from the Middle East or we start to see some deals, tariff deals coming down the pipeline. Market is pretty much just holding its breath. There was some pretty good updates yesterday though. So I think this is where some people are very discouraged about the price action today, because yesterday did show a lot of signs of it wanting to finally move higher and break higher, but we did have the weekly registration numbers. So as a group, it came in at 5170, 470 for Firefly, 3250 for NIO, and then 1450 for Onvo. So pretty good. All three did improve. Onvo definitely does need to get their crap together in order to hit that target for Q4, but nonetheless though, week by week it is improving, so definitely some good things for that. And then the only other thing that kind of came out yesterday to hype people up was this right here. So Firefly, even though it's cheap as hell, I think it works out to be, was it 13,000-ish. Ultimately, you can do zero down, various financing. So they're pretty much switching up the marketing. So very beneficial, but still, we'll have to wait and see how that does all play out. Nonetheless, market loved it. Shorts did return, and so that was essentially breaking their trend. So I'll go over shorts in a second. But today, no news, no macro data points either. Plus that whole stimulus meeting, that committee meeting that was supposed to have occurred today, didn't, for whatever reason. From what I can see on social media, I don't see any results, nothing. In the past though, every time one of those stimulus meetings did take place, people were rather discouraged because they kind of talked a big game, but ultimately never really resulted in anything. So maybe that's why NIO is lagging, or possibly just the market is waiting. But aside from what I mentioned, NIO didn't put out any official news today. They did drop a 6K early this morning, and that's ultimately just the results of their shareholder meeting. So it shows that all the proposed items duly passed. So again, on a side note, in case you guys didn't participate, I didn't, because I think there's only one proposed item, I believe, and that's just reaffirming the accounting firm. So don't cry yourself a river if you missed it or anything. But aside from that, shorts did return a little bit yesterday as well as today. 374,000 shares are being returned right now. 13.82% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 213.31 million shares overall are being shorted. So interesting to see that shorts are finally starting to break their trend, because between June the 13th and ultimately looks like the 23rd, they just increased like crazy for whatever reason. So let me know your general thoughts on that, and if you think the kind of things are moving around and potentially they will be starting to return. What's your kind of general thoughts? Even in my Discord, completely free on a side note to join, link in the description below and also comments, but there is a lot of people in there just saying, hey, like, NIO, is that a good buying opportunity? Is that, like, a lot of people, random people are just talking about NIO. So I think just based on everything that's been happening in the broader market, people are looking for value, and I feel maybe that's why shorts have been starting to return, just more and more visibility associated to NIO, but clearly not that much in buying going on. So like I said, lower volume over the last couple of days. Looking at the options, you are seeing 1.2 million in calls, 2.15 million in puts. So pretty good stuff for that, but you do see 52% of all the options being done being bearish in nature. And clearly, as you can kind of see, there was 1.1 million that was close to the bottom between 10.10 and 10.15. So I don't think that's retail, that's institutions kind of hedging a little bit. So they're anticipating more downside clearly. But from the bulls, you see a consensus for it to be above 350, which given where we are at, obviously not that much upside. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 350. So 350 is a key pivot for right now. But today, no transactions occurring on the dark pool or on the secondary market. Dark pool, you do see some transactions, but of course, of the volume, majority is coming from algorithmic trading because you don't really see that many transactions right here to kind of justify the overall volume. Aside from that though, with it at 347, it is trading between this S1 and this S2, so 331 is going to be a strong support. So far hasn't really been tested over the last couple of trading days, so just keep that in mind, but 349 is going to be that next strong resistance slash target, and it did break above that fairly easily today, but I think as I mentioned in previous videos, the market is just holding its breath for the next big catalyst. Aside from that, no new analyst ratings, no real articles of value to really bring up. So it's just piggybacking off of the broader market a little bit, and plus at the same time being manipulated through algos as per usual. But on the actual chart, on a positive note, it is very oversold. You can see that from the stochastic RSI, but again, that will only really benefit NIO to move higher if there is a catalyst, whether it be on a macro standpoint or specific to NIO. But right now, the 50-day moving average is at 379. So that's going to be pretty much the end goal that you really want to see in the short term for it to get above. Because if it is able to get above that, then usually result in like a 30% swing, but at the same time, shorts might double down at that stage. So it's a very interesting type of stock. Nonetheless, this is why I still do cover it, because honestly, I do consider myself somewhat of a value investor. I like EVs and the innovative kind of technology that they are developing. And so I like NIO, and it just, the stock price, I gotta admit, I've been covering it consistently pretty much for about a year, on and off for about a year and a half, and it is one very, very frustrating stock. I gotta admit that, because there's a lot of other crappier speculative stocks in the EV sector still that is way overvalued, and they go up 2-3x compared to NIO. But NIO producing what they do, and it's just, I don't know. And a lot of bears will just say, well, NIO is burning through so much cash and whatever else. I do agree that a company burning excessive amounts of cash is going to be disciplined by pretty much the broader market. But again, a lot of speculative stocks that are doing more cash burn than NIO is kind of outperforming them. So it's a very, like I said, frustrating stock. So if you do believe in a bigger picture, I think you just have to buy and be patient. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. What's your viewpoint on these numbers that they did put out? Do you think it's improving? Do you think Onvo is going to get to their kind of Q4 targets of 25,000 every month? Or do you think that's just a pipe dream? What's your kind of viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, if you're looking for some solid buys on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.